Okay, who's ready to catch? So, who would like to share a insight that they had about that? No personal details, just an insight. Okay, share, stand up. Turn it on. Okay, put it in front of you like this. It's not on. Oh, come on, Mike, man. It's not on. It's not on. No, it's still not on. That's it. Now talk. Now talk. That's it. Yay.
Okay, thank you. We had a very big divergence of opinion here in terms of, well, your opinion versus Ira and I. Ira and I are cold faced with roadkill, and I mean, I just showed you a picture that shocked the pants off them.
Yeah, stop doing that.
Yeah. Anyway, so Gary has a different opinion, and he reckons that we need to get a change in public opinion. So, oh, well, you go.
Gary, you say what you want to say. I'll give you a lolly as well.
My view is that you can't change people; they will behave as they behave.
Exactly. Exactly. You're spot on.
So
You're spot on.
Change systems, like the work I was from this morning. So you don't change the probability of people speeding or doing or the fact they can't stop in time. You need to change the surroundings of the road.
Yes. Right. Insight. Next insight. We've got two more. Oh. We've got one here.
Hello.
No, that's working.
We've discovered that we've got each other to talk to and get over not get over, but discuss all these problems, and it helps a lot because we just support each other, which is really good.
Brilliant. I'm going to talk a little bit about proper debriefing after this. Just quickly, part of this. Let's go this lady because she had her arm up first. Oh, hang on. Might not get to you. So have a volley.
I just wanted to speak to the stats there with the bullying and harassment.
Yep.
I think that's a significant issue in volunteer organisations across the board.
Yep.
And I believe that we have lost in our organisation a number of really good people.
Which organisation are you with?
I'm not going to say that.
Okay.
Good try. Anybody?
It's a wildlife one.
And that type of behaviour goes across exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to care, we're trying to save, we're trying to rehabilitate.
Yep.
And then we come across admin that is totally counterintuitive to that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel that a lot of our volunteers have been traumatised significantly by that.
If I get a lolly.
Hang on, here, have two.
Oh, my rescue South Coast.
Oh, okay. There you go. Oh. Catch. You're a wildlife carer, not a baseball catcher. Okay. Okay, one more. One more. Oh. Okay. One more insight.
I was just going to say that I liked how you had that people can be a victim, perpetrator, or bystander.
Yeah, that's not my definition. That's
and
I'm
sure that you do get people that are coming from any and all sometimes of those positions. Just like a little insight I had was that I'd really like to see in the future something that looks like support, education, and safety for people who have done wrong. So it's not so like shameful, because a lot of things, like I know that I've made a lot of mistakes. Like I'm a wildlife carer, I've made a lot of mistakes, and some of them have been my fault. Like openly, to whatever degree. And I've always found it really difficult when people say, "Oh, don't worry, like it's not your fault, it's not your fault. Because I need support that it's okay even though it was my fault.
Yeah, so that's one of the
not
reasons.
just, like,
This is one of the reasons why I'm going to talk about proper debriefing. Thank you. Thank you for admitting that in this open forum, because you know we're not always the most gracious to people who admit that they've made mistakes. So let's just get back to moral. Well, we don't have. I've only got like 25 minutes to do the rest of my thing. Is it really, really urgent and you cannot hold it in? Okay. There is going to be room for questions at the end. At the end. At the end. Okay. See, this is why you don't have discussions. Okay. So, diagnosis and treatment. It is diagnosable. It's not diagnosable officially. So, at the moment, because it is such a subjective thing, there is no criteria to have a diagnosis of moral injury. It is something that we can identify and say it's highly indicative of, but it is not a diagnostic. So like with PTSD, for instance, if you're a psychologist or you work in mental health, there's a thing called the DSM, which is the Diagnostic Statistical Manual number 5. It's the Bible for mental health professionals. It is not in there and it won't be in there because there is no set criteria, because everyone in this room is different. And how you experience a thing is going to be different to the person who's sat next to you. So it's not diagnosable. However, it is fully treatable and a full recovery is possible. And there are a number of different types of therapeutic interventions that can be used, all of which are available through Wild Talk. Cognitive behaviour therapy, or CBT, acceptance commitment therapy, prolonged exposure therapy, adaptive disclosure. These are all terms. And this is a big one, but it is actually a therapeutic tool. It's called Impact of Killing, and it's specifically designed for military veterans, but it actually comes into play for first responders as well, including the unrecognised first responders. And it's specifically designed for those that have taken a life. This therapy helps individuals process the impact of that action. It helps you develop a forgiveness plan, and it also reconnects you back with your personal values. So it is a value-based methodology. Group therapy is also an option, and restore and rebuild therapy as well. This is very much in the UK at the moment, but I'm doing some ongoing professional development around it at the moment so that I can learn more about it. Other approaches are things like self-compassion. Yes, I'm looking at you lot. Forgiveness for yourselves and each other. Making amends, community support. Yes, I'm looking at you lot again. And lifestyle changes. Now, the one thing that I always say at Wild Talk, we are never going to tell you to stop being a wildlife carer. We're never going to ask you if you've tried scrapbooking instead as a hobby. But there are changes that can be made to make life just a little bit easier. And then there's also it's a very individualized thing. And when we're looking at addressing moral injury or PTSD, we work at them on slightly different levels, because we've got that trauma base, fear of life base, and then we've got the guilt and shame base. And of course, it's also very important to include community, which brings me to debriefing. Now, I've only been here since 8:30 this morning, and I've already heard at least a dozen horror stories about things that have happened. We need to stop doing that to each other and ourselves. We all know that what we see and what we do is horrific. We all know we've got horror stories. And when we're sharing a story of a rescue or a failed or something that's nasty, every time you retell that story, you are traumatizing yourself, and you're potentially vicariously traumatizing the person that you're telling. I am doing this right now, and I'm giving you permission to stop traumatizing yourselves. Stop it. You're not doing yourselves any favors. And one of the things that we offer is clinical, structured debriefing. So when you have a gnarly rescue or a gnarly event that you have to go to, Yes, you've got your person that you talk to, but don't start the trauma Olympics every time you want to come back and have that conversation. Call us and we will do a structured debrief with you. It takes 10 to 15 minutes. We don't focus on what you did wrong. We don't focus on how much you stuffed up and how awful and how bloody it was. We focus on what you did well. We focus on what you could do differently next time if you have the opportunity again. Focus on the lessons learned. And then we talk about feelings. After you've already gone, actually, you know what? I did the best that I could. Instead of, it was awful. Right from the beginning. Because it's not helpful. We need to stop traumatizing ourselves and each other. I'm giving you permission to not tell your story. Okay? Even with the hundreds of conversations I've had, and anybody that is here that has spoken to me, you don't have to disclose who you are because confidentiality and all that. I don't think I've ever said, tell me what happened. And I never will. And neither will Mick. Mick is standing at the back of the room now. Mick, wave, please. Thank you. Mick is looking after the sessions that you can book today and tomorrow morning, and then I'm doing tomorrow afternoon and Friday. So you can come and speak to me privately. We've got the room directly outside here, room 102, for private sessions during this conference. But we will never say, tell us your story. I want to hear all the dirty details. Because I don't. I don't need that in my head, and neither does Mick. And neither do you. Our job is to get that out of your head. So stop telling the story. Okay. Now, out next to the Raptor table, where all the coffee is, I know you've all been out there, there is a pile of moral injury surveys. Now, because it's just me doing this stuff, I haven't had a chance to put this online. I apologise. So you're going to have to do paper. Now, it is actually the moral injury outcome scale on the back. And on the front is information, just generic information about you that we collect whenever we do a survey. This is our project, our research project for this year, is to see exactly what percentage of people working in wildlife actually are experiencing some level of moral injury. Because we want to get you recognised as a first responder. And the only way we can do that is if we have this kind of information. So over the next couple of days, I would encourage you to please take one of these, fill it in. Please, I know it says it's optional, but please put your name and your email address, because then if this is all fives on this side, I can contact you and ask you if you're okay. Okay? If it's all fives and I don't know who you are, I've got no way of following up with you. This is completely confidential. Behind the pile is a lovely little basket that you can just fold this in half or four. Now, science says that you cannot fold a piece of paper more than 7 times. You don't need to fold it that many times, but just when you're done, just fold it up, put it in that basket. I'll be clearing that out at the end of every day, and it is confidential. Your information will not be shared with anybody else. Okay? There's also a newsletter sign up out there. Please sign up for our newsletter so we can keep you up to date with what we're doing. And if I do get to put this online, I'll also be sending that out. So if you don't want to sit there and do a paper one, you can do an online one a little bit later. Now, the other thing that we're also doing is we've started it, but we haven't finished it because I'm not the expert on every topic. We have a therapist's briefing pack. This is so our therapists can understand you a little bit better. And each species of animal, all the key terms and the reasons why they find it. If you want to help us finish writing this, please come and talk to me at some point. You'll get a full credit at the back if you've helped write it, if you've contributed to it. Because this is important. Because the longer we exist, the more therapists want to come on board to help. And I can't have individual conversations with every single one. And this is the thing they can have if you say something and they go, oh, I don't know what that means, they can quickly look it up. So if you want to help us with that, that would be amazing, because I can't do this all on my own. So 3 things, 3 courses of action. Please do the survey. if you're interested in helping us, that's my boy Dexter. And he Claudia, where are you? Claudia at the back. Claudia's at the back. So Claudia is an author based in Germany who's writing a book about wildlife carers at the moment. She would also be happy to talk to you. I've got three pet pythons. Dexter is one of them. He is 6.5 foot long, so nearly 2 meters long, and he weighs nearly 6 kilos. And apprehensive is the way I would say to describe Claudia and snakes. Apprehensive. So she comes in and she says, "Are there any snakes I need to worry about?" I'm like, no. They're all locked up. What I didn't know was that my dog had chewed the corner off of his temporary house yesterday, and he'd seen some light and decided, I'm going to go for a wander around the house. So he's literally on the bookshelf right next to the front door, just chilling. I've had him for 7 years. He's never been outside of his enclosure unless I've taken him out before. So poor old Claudia's like, oh. So this is Dexter. He's my boy. He's extremely friendly, and he loves a cuddle. And he's a python, so he is non-venomous. So does anybody have any questions? I'm going to go first to that lady over there that really wanted to talk to me just a minute ago. I think we've got like 10 minutes.
Hello, thank you.
That's okay.
I'm Jill.
Hello, Jill.
So, ACT Wildlife, and at the moment, one of the Alliance Save Kangaroos. Kangaroos.
Yes.
Thank you. Also, like member of RSPCA, I believe in all care for all animals. But just an observation, you're talking about anxiety. I have relatives in Batemans Bay, and I know most of the wonderful people in Canberra who go and are so brave in checking out the dead kangaroos, the pouch young.
Yes.
How brave they are to take the pouch young out.
Mm.
Sometimes the kangaroo is still...
No details.
Okay.
Question.
I'm trying to be...
I know, but I'm thinking mental health.
To care or so I just wanted to make a point about those brave people.
Yes, and thank you for yes.
In a practical way.
And in a practical way, yeah.
Help.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And this is why I constantly say that you're the unrecognised first responders. And the difference between you and the traditional first responder, fire, police, ambos, is you're often doing that work in isolation at 2 o'clock in the morning on your own, hell or high water, rain, shine, everything. And you haven't got a partner in your car with you all the time, if ever, and you don't have a group of people that you're also able to talk to. So, it's important. We need to get you recognised as first responders, especially those that are going out in rescues. We're going to talk to this lady over here because she had her hand up. She had her hand up in the last block as well. Yes, please.
Thank you, Gail from Central Vic again.
So, question?
Amazing work that you do.
Yep.
I've got kind of two things. I'm not even sure that the first one is very relevant, but you talk about moral injury and the difference between moral injury and PTSD, and that PTSD occurs when you have fear for your own life.
Yeah, it's fear, yes, or somebody else's.
But PTSD, like when you get to a point, and I'm sure there's people in this room that have been at that point with suicidal ideation on the rise, and that's a very fearful place to be.
Yes, absolutely.
Aren't you then suffering PTSD?
Not necessarily, no. There's a whole bunch of criteria that you have to fit. I mean, obviously, I can't go into the absolute details of what PTSD is, but there's a whole bunch of criteria that you need to meet in order to be diagnosed with PTSD. So, it is possible to have PTSD and moral injury. It's not a and or. It's you absolutely can have both.
And the other thing I kind of wanted to think, like it's great to hear you talk about, is it possible to actually heal while you're still doing the work that's causing you the injury?
Yes, it is. but it's harder and it will take longer. So it's like if we get into the conversation about burnout and compassion fatigue, they are different. One is work related, one is everything related. It's very hard to come back from compassion fatigue when you're completely done with everything. Burnout, you need to take a break. You need to take a break. So, you know, I've said already that we don't ever tell you to stop doing what you're doing, and we never will. But if you are experiencing something like burnout or compassion fatigue, we will find a way for you to work with the animals that you've got, maybe reduce numbers, maybe look at changing the schedule that you're keeping if you can. So we'll work with you to have the best outcomes for you. But you can absolutely heal while you're still doing the work. But we're probably going to, you know, so maybe you want to sort of slow down a little bit. Because the reality is that most of you need to slow down a little bit and get some sleep. I know, right? It's such a foreign language. Okay, do you have a question? Oh my God. Okay, thank you. She is as well, but she's got a question. She's still a wildlife person. I'll chuck you a lolly in advance. Would you like one?
Oh, hello.
Hello.
From a protective point of view, are there things that we as wildlife carers who are already doing the wildlife caring can do to help and encourage those who want to get into it so that they are more resilient?
Yes. So, you know, resilience building is a whole other topic all of its own. We have a thing called a resilience window. And then we have this little sort of bracket that goes across like this. And then, did I do that? Okay. So we have this little thing called a resilience window. And then above we have hyper arousal. There's that word. And then we have hypo, which is really low and flat. So hyper is like go, 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 go. Hypo is quite often when we have low resilience, that resilience tolerance is actually very, very narrow. So when we do resilience work, what we do is we sort of push you into those uncomfortable zones of low and high to try and broaden that out. It is something that you can work with a therapist on. You can do it yourself, but it is something that quite a lot of people. But you know what would increase your resilience quite a lot? Stop telling trauma stories to each other. I will tell you all off. Okay. Can we get a mic? Oh yeah, we'll do this lady, and then we'll do this guy and then this lady.
Me now?
Francis, but yeah.
So on debriefing.
Yes, debriefing. Yes.
There's between what's the difference between
Put your mic right. Like mic needs to be like this.
functional work stories
Yes.
versus debriefing.
Okay. So
I'll give you an example.
no, I can give you. I can give you an example. I'm going to give you an example. So fence hanger. You all know what that is? Yes. That's all you need. That's all you need. That's all you need. You just need the term fence hanger. You all know what I'm talking about. I attended a fence hanger. Right, okay. What did you do well? Ah, okay. I'm so glad you asked. We have a debriefing course on our resources page. It takes 30 minutes and there's a 10-minute demonstration of how to do it, using a fence hanger as an example. So it's $35. All that money goes back into supporting the counselling. Pair up with somebody, sit there and do it together. Learn how to properly, structurally debrief with each other so you're not trauma storying, trauma dumping on each other. Okay. This lady over here who's been gagging to ask me a question for the last 10 minutes.
Okay, my question is this.
Who are you? Who are you first?
My name's Beck.
Hello, Beck.
When you put up all the information about moral injury, you talk about how, you felt for self and you lack self-worth and all of that kind of information. Can you still have a moral injury if you believe that everything that you did was right, but at a certain point you're instructed to do something,
yes,
that you can have a moral injury.
You can. So that's one of the reasons why I'm asking you all to do the survey at the back, because what you can do is you can have a think of an example, whatever that example is, and you grade it, you rate it, and then you answer all the questions related to that incident. So if you have something where you're questioning, is what I'm feeling moral injury? You can actually do, and you can access this moral injury outcome scale on the internet. It's freely available. So if you have an incident and you're like a couple of weeks post, and you kind of go, well, I'm feeling a little bit rough. Like, am I feeling down? You can think of that incident. You can do the outcome scale, and you can see where you're sat. So you can absolutely do that yourself, but we can also take you through it as well if you want to talk to somebody while you're doing it. Okay, yeah. We've got a couple of questions over here, and then we'll do one more. Yeah. You can ask me privately, Robert. I'll give you a lolly in advance, though. Okay. Which lady? Okay. Have you got a mic? Yep.
Hi, Lindsay.
Yes.
As you know, overshare, but I'm not going to overshare. I just want to.
Everyone in this room is an oversharer, Lindsay. It's fine.
I'm just going to give you, a good example of what
It's not a trauma story, is it?
No.
Okay, good.
It's positive. I mentor several people, and this is something that I've really encouraged with regard to my mentees and myself. There's a period for 3 months of every season, every cycle, where there's always a low Joey intake.
Yes.
I take those 3 months of every year to make my downtime. So I don't take on Joey during that time. I take on precocious animals, so animals that
she's not giving herself a break.
Yeah,
she's just not taking in new animals.
Precocious animals that are quite, they only take a few weeks or whatever to get back out. Or I take in adult animals that are rehabilitation cases, so therefore the type.
Very good.
It's a different type of care, and that's what I also encourage my mentees to do as well. So that is that's what I do to promote my own self-care and that of my mentees.
Brilliant. Oh, look at that lovely word, self-care. I didn't even bring it up.
I just wanted to, just a good example of what I do to help myself with self-care.
Thank you, Lindsay. Here, have a lolly. I'm going to throw it at you. Catch. I think we've got one more, and that's it, because I've got the wrap up. He's moving with purpose at the back now.
Karen Perry-James, I'm from Wildlife Arts Post. I've noticed that what's the biggest problem in our organisation, I think, at the moment, is the fact that people are forced to take too many animals. I'm not forced by the organisation, but forced by circumstance. Our numbers
it's a choice.
Too low. Yeah, but
it's a choice.
It's
a choice.
Baby ducklings coming in, and only 2 or 3 people can do it. Your organisation.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a lady yesterday. She just released a great pile of ducklings. She hadn't cleaned up her backyard or anything. And I was on the phones and I gave her. And she was so upset about it. Now, yes.
I think the mics need to be charged.